April 2025. This woman, Lori Vallow, was found guilty of conspiring to murder Charles Vallow, her fourth husband at the time, who she was married to over 10 years. Just months later, that same year, she was found guilty for conspiring to commit murder on her nephew-in-law, Brandon Boudreaux. Trina Kay was the prosecutor of those cases, and she asked for 2 consecutive life sentences without parole. July 31st, 2023, Lori Vallow Daybell was sentenced to multiple life terms in prison without parole. She was sentenced to conspiracy to commit murder and the death of Chad Daybell's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Even worse, she was convicted for first-degree murders of her 2 youngest children, JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Right now, she's waiting on her sentencing for the last 2 trials in 2025. And that will begin July 25th, just a few days from now. After her Arizona sentencing, she is expected to be extradited back to Idaho to serve out her life sentences. From 2019, when these incidents happened, Lori has done nothing but talk and talk, manipulate, gaslight, lie. She did nothing to show any type of sorrow, remorse for what she had done to all these victims and the families. Instead, she has soaked in the spotlight, enjoyed the moment, and never understood the consequences of what she's done. Lori Vallow Daybell, the zombie-killing doomsday mother, escaped the death penalty. It was at her trial, 2023, while she was about to begin trial. Prosecutors in Idaho failed to meet the deadlines for turning over a large volume of evidence to the defense, including thousands of documents and over 100 hours of recorded jail calls. This evidence was described as inarguably and inexcusably late. As always, Lori was pushing her speedy trial rights. So they said there wasn't enough time for her defense team to review and go through all this newly disclosed evidence before a trial proceeded. So this was a death penalty case, and this was a big deal. So this got the death penalty thrown out. So Judge Boyce, to ensure a fair trial and to protect Lori Daybell's rights, Stephen Boyce removed the death penalty as a sentencing option. He noted that allowing the death penalty to proceed despite the late discovery could lead to a conviction being overturned on appeal. Lori's attorneys had tried to pull Lori was suffering with mental health conditions. The media coverage was making it unfair. They were trying everything in the rule book to try to get the death penalty just thrown out. So that finally happened for them, but it had to happen on a prosecutor's mistake. If you think about it, this isn't something a prosecutor simply forgets. This is a very important trial with a lot of media coverage. And they had a lot of people working on the prosecutor team, so an oversight couldn't have been that. For me, it seemed that the outcome of her punishment was deliberately influenced because Lori Vallow is a woman and because her family insisted that this sudden character change of Lori was because of Chad Daybell. If anyone deserved a death penalty, it was Lori Vallow Daybell, the zombie-killing mom. Why didn't she get this death penalty? So here's my thoughts. Perhaps the prosecutors felt sorry for Lori. Maybe they believed that she truly believed this stuff. Since Idaho lacks these legal protections for individuals with mental illnesses, they had to navigate around that. The thing is you've never really seen or had anyone ask them about that. Conversely, Lori Vallow's past was saturated with legal entanglements and court hearings and a pattern of aggression and stalking and crafting up deceptive stories, something her niece, Melani Boudreaux, seemed to mimic almost perfectly. It was absolutely certain that Lori Vallow Daybell was deceptive, manipulative in her storytelling. She was undoubtedly malicious towards others. She even said it at the LDS little group gathering she had with a few of her LDS friends, that she wanted to murder her ex-husband and the father of her child, Tylee Joe Ryan. And that is not the first or the last death threat. Charles Vallow told police that his wife had threatened to kill him. Melani Boudreaux and Melanie Gibb, witnesses, also part of the cult, said that Lori, well, a few people said that they were there when Lori mentioned the fact that she put medication into Charles Vallow's protein mix, and how she and Alex wished that they could kill Charles. So you had all these people that are hearing these um, people speak about hurting other people and even mentioning how they could kill them. So you had definitely both Melanie's and Alex Cox who were well aware of this. So I have a few more red flags for you. So Chad Daybell's trial. The prosecution seemed to grasp for evidence to connect him with the sole undeniable link of being, well, the discovery of the children's remains in his yard. Remember that. They seem to big time, or appear to, rely heavily on guiding their witnesses, seemingly coaxing them out of any information that point towards Chad Daybell's culpability in this case. And truly, these witnesses largely conceded that the bulk of their knowledge and understanding originated from the one and only Lori Vallow and Melanie Gibb. And these kinds of things that we witnessed during these trials made you, throw up these question marks and ask, what is really going on here? There's no doubt in my mind that Chad Daybell is guilty. But when you watch the trial and you know the case like many of us do that are here on this channel especially, you notice these things that they're just kind of grabbing and moving things and changing the narrative to make the outcome they're looking for. And instead of Lori getting the death penalty, Chad Daybell got the death penalty. And they really pushed their witnesses to say that Chad Daybell was the person that was over the beginning of zombies. The truth is, if you look at the evidence, at least that's available to the public at this time, the zombie term originated from Melanie Gibb and Lori Vallow. And it was mostly the women within that group using this term. Melani Boudreaux, Melanie Gibb, Solima, and Lori Vallow. I almost forgot about Alex Cox. He's left out a lot these days since he died in December of 2019. And so when you go back and think about all of these crazy things and you're trying to figure out why is it Melanie Gibb and Solima are not behind bars, right? And then you have Melani Boudreaux Pawlowski and Ian even. Why is it they are not behind bars? Because they really didn't do the prosecution much of a favor. In fact, there's a few recordings out there that he had made that we haven't heard yet. And they might open the doors to a lot more. So there might be a reason for those being held back. And could it be because the fact that his wife's case, Melani Pawlowski, is still open, and prosecutor Trina Kay is considering, well, indicting her. Now, many of you have said in comments, people like RH Many Faces, I don't trust either Melanies. Alex was a bad shot, thank God. You have that feeling deep in your gut and your soul that you know that these group of people that are walking free today, that was part of this group, should fess up. Comments like Valerie Peterson. She says, I don't think they will do anything to Melani, but I think she should have been arrested, in my opinion. She knew everything. Thank you, ladies, for your comments. And that's true. You have both Melanies that were there when things were going down. Melanie Gibb, who was told to leave the night before Charles Vallow was shot. Right? So here's another comment. Susan O'Neill says, both the Melanies are complicit. Melanie Gibb also had a hand in covering up information. And there's no doubt about that, because remember when they were in the police station right before Charles was shot and Charles had Lori's purse. Melanie Gibb went to the police station with Lori Vallow and her daughter Tylee. And she didn't tell the police the truth about what Charles was reaching out to her about. She just made it seem as if Charles was giving a hard time. And Charles was just tricking her. Charles desperately tried to reach out to anyone to try to get help with getting Lori help. He knew that she was out of her mind and that she was capable of doing some serious damage to someone.
What's he texting you?
I have the text. He was basically just texting me. He was acting like my son was in danger. I was worried about JJ's safety and things, and texting her like he's gonna. So he at first texted me, "We doing okay today? Hey girl, are you? Egg, please. Your mom, I may not be home for a bit. Love you." Sent me a strange link to a website about our church. That people. Yeah. Said this is what's happening, and then he texted me at almost midnight. I'm so, but I have no choice. I'm just sick. Danger. I had no choice. He didn't file a police report or anything as far as we know, so I'm just assuming he was trying to get a response. And then I love you. He was.
Police report about what?
Or I don't know, but he was acting like he did something.
And then those text messages came from. Do you have it entered his mom's phone? Or?
No, that was from him. That's before he didn't. That's before.
It's around this time that Melani Boudreaux is finding out that her ex-husband, or her estranged husband, Brandon Boudreaux, is also a zombie. And it's just a little bit after Charles is shot, around August 7th, that Melani Boudreaux's children officially become zombies. Now, Special Agent Doug Hart, which was one of my favorite investigators, found out a lot of crazy and sketchy information attached to this group of people. So we learned through family members that they had some questions about the behavior of Lori Vallow's children at times. But now, that concern starts to switch to Melani Boudreaux's children. In text messages, according to Doug Hart, Lori Vallow claimed that Tylee Ryan would yell at her. And this seemed to happen often. One time, Tylee got so mad that she took off in the Jeep and didn't come home for like 30 minutes. What is Tylee Ryan yelling at her mom about? A lot of people have tried to figure out if Tylee knew a lot of what's going on. Did she understand that Charles' shooting was a setup? According to a few testimonies by witnesses, they say that they witnessed Tylee was quite shaken up about Charles' shooting. Melani Boudreaux, being one of those people, said that she even asked Tylee, "How are you doing?" And Melani Boudreaux seemed to understand how bad the situation was for the children, but she made excuses of why this would be okay. That Lori was basically protecting her children and protecting everyone that she loved from other people who were the danger to them. So there's a pattern from Melani Boudreaux. If you go back and look, and which we will later, she's just all the time around when all of these kind of sketchy things are happening, and she's helping Lori create these excuses that deter the truth. There was also text messages that give you a clue of why Tylee might have become a zombie. And we learned that there are text messages between Charles and Lori, a lot of them, talking about how difficult Tylee was to handle as a teenager. This gives you a clue of what could have been one of the motives for why the children were becoming zombies. You know what was crazy is how Lori, she absolutely obsessed over nicknames. She obsessed over Jesus. And so these actions and calling people zombies and then her murdering all these people really didn't make sense. And it just didn't calculate because they don't go together. Now we do know that people like Melani Boudreaux was taught about exalted beings, translated beings. And she believed that Lori, Chad, and Alex were translated and that she could be translated Zulema and Melanie Gibb. This is something they all talked about. They have been granted the special immunity and power from the heavens to be translated beings walking among us, each one believing that they held something important and special that we didn't know. That includes deeming people light and dark, zombies, demons. And to be part of this group, if you're talking about the translation and the building of this cult, the Church of the Firstborn, the 144,000, the leaders who are helping Jesus prepare for his second coming, his rule here on earth. Well, you have to know things. And this is something Melani Boudreaux would try to deny during the investigation. Doug Hart found many chats and photos that we have not seen. One of those photos were of Chad and Alex standing by Jesus, and they titled themselves as Exalted Beings. This is around August 7th, right after they murdered Charles. Now, if you go back and you re-listen to what Agent Doug Hart discovered, around the same time, this is when he discovers just how deep Melani Boudreaux is in with her aunt's plans.
From Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. I love you. Taking Braxy home now. I'll check on her. Line 1394 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. She is asleep. She put a bunch of holes in the walls and doors. Definitely had demons helping her, probably 1,000. Two from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. Mel wants us to come up there tomorrow, but I said next Thursday to Sunday. What do you think? Line 1391 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. We are both so tired of taking care of demons. We are weary. Please ask the Lord to take them.
In context of your review of the iCloud and the evidence in this case, what significance did that have from an investigative point of view?
The significance is the designation of these children as being demons, being possessed by some dark entity, and in light of what happened with JJ and Tylee, it is relevant to the investigation in its totality.
So, according to Lori in text, she said that she and Melanie are tired of dealing with demons. While a lot of people refer to demon as being dark, what I've learned demons to mean in many of these cases, they're referring to their children as well. Children that act up are zombies. Children that act up are marked dark. And sometimes children that act up end up in backyards. So here you have a clue that Melani Boudreaux is in on this shenanigans at least August 7th of 2019. And she's more than supporting this idea. What stands out to you? Make sure you drop it in comments. Now, what was interesting is how Lori asked Chad to ask the Lord to take them. She doesn't say take dark spirits. She doesn't say take the demons. She says take them. It's not Chad Daybell that suggests this. It's not Melani that we hear suggest this. We hear Lori Vallow is the one initiating that these children be taken away. This is important to understanding just how deep Melani Boudreaux was in this and how much danger her children were put in because of her involvement with this cult group. So Brandon Boudreaux was shot at. And soon after that, just weeks later, Melani Boudreaux is packing up her house. She's not talking to anyone. She's not seeing her kids. She and Alex Cox are staying at Zulima's house. And that's when Zulima and Alex kiss for the first time. Melani starts building this narrative that her reason for leaving was because Brandon took her children away, which is a complete lie. Guess who else had just died? Tammy Daybell, just a few weeks ago. So, Charles Vallow's been shot. Melani's kids are zombies. Tylee and JJ are zombies. Brandon Boudreaux, got shot at. Tammy Daybell is dead. And Melani Boudreaux is all in with this group. She is supporting them more than 100%, and she's packing her bags and moving closer towards it. So now this video is an intro into what we will go into next when we talk about Melani Boudreaux with her Aunt Lori. So please drop your comments on this video here. What would you like to talk about on the next video when we talk about Melani Boudreaux and Lori? Do you believe that Melani Boudreaux knew exactly what was going on? Or do you think she was manipulated cold-heartedly by her own aunt? What do you think the prosecutor is waiting for? Do you think she's going to get indicted? Why should she be indicted? And what does she know that she's not sharing? Don't forget about these girls here that are missing. Their cases have gone cold. People like Summer Wells, Jasmine Robinson, and Kiera Coles, Dulce. We have a lot of girls out there that need your help. I've been busy this week, guys. Love you, and I'll see you guys soon.